Thank you, Dr. Greet. We shall now have a 10-minute panel discussion. I'd like to call back Dr. Jarernchai, Dr. Kosol, and Dr. Lekakul for our panel discussion. First off, I would like to commend our Thai ethnomusicologists for their wonderful presentations. I would like to know how these cultures of particular places, how do the musicians navigate changes in the environment where they operate, given that there's much more media, there's much more, as they said a while ago, technological mediations. Do you have any input in that regard?
Yes. Can I answer that? Okay.
Yes, yes, sir. Go ahead.
To me, it's in every cultures now they involve with the multimedia presentations and also the music technologies that can help. Or somebody said it doesn't help, but does change it to in different ways. To my presentation, I try to represent about the development of pinpia, the string zither. That when the musician now they try to learn a new knowledge from YouTube, and from the Facebook and everything. That's kind of thing they can, well, technically it's like we can call preserve the music by accident, by the automatic things. But the thing is, they also think in different ways. They don't think about the preservation anymore. They think that how to have this instrument in the society, in the community, rather than how to preserve as a frozen things. I think this is the most important things about the people, about think about the music now. They don't think something about how to conserve or preserve something to in the culture, but they try to develop it. Maybe Mr. Jarernchai or Chaiwut can help me to answer this question.
Yes. Any comments from Dr. Kosol or Dr. Chonpairot?
Yeah, I have a few comments. Give idea that our new society we have many change, especially technology and economy change, the technology change, and then the way the people to survive, including the musician and also other career profession. They have to adapt themselves to be in the good, go along with the environment or society. That is my idea. Thank you.
Okay, so aside from technology, there's also the economics of it. Thank you, Dr. Chonpairot. Dr. Kosol, would you like to add to the discussion?
Yes, thank you. In the south of Thailand, the player of P now they play like they adapt the way of traditional way to play P style to a modern style. They will play with the Western music instrument for Nang Talung and Nora also. Some of them have their own channel on YouTube and present their music on YouTube, and they play new style of music by the P. They use the new arrange for P and preserve that to play in Nang Talung and Nora. I think that will be a new change for a new generation for them. Okay. Thank you.
Add more one thing about the development is some in the past maybe some people think about the influence of Western music or something, but now we have YouTube. The thing, for example, Mr. Kwanchai, the pinpia player in my presentation, he adapt his musical techniques from Gucheng, the Chinese musical technique, rather than Western music. And this is something of the Western music have influence, but not for the all of that anymore. They try to develop themselves in different ways. Maybe you can call localization or globalization or something, and it depends on the music, the creation of that musician.
Oh, I have a very important case in the mouth organ. usually play with the moram, every type of moram. But nowadays, moram troupe, that means the theatrical of moram troupe, they throw away the mouth organ.
Oh, really?
Because of the influence of the audience. The audience think that is the old way of life. It's not suitable for the modern time. They should not use the mouse organ. So they prefer keyboard. So now every theatrical troupe, moram troupe, they don't use can anymore. That is one problem. Because of, and for the economic purpose, the moram troupe have to listen to the audience because the audience pay for them. That is one case.
That's right.
So the musicians have to negotiate these touristic adaptations. How do the people receive these changes?
You know, many people, they don't appreciate or don't have aesthetic in the music, but they drink and dance, and they want to enjoy their life, you know, not think of any other value of the life. So that, and the money belong to those people. So it affects the musician that way.
In your presentations, most of the, of course, the methods and the forms of analysis come from sometimes Western training. Did you ever discover categories that were local, that as you were documenting these traditions, you realized that, hey, I didn't know that before. This is something that this culture is telling me. Can you share any of those? Any?
Can I give an idea?
Yes.
As I observe many years of my life about the musician and the performer, they are not the scholar. They do what they learn from their teacher, but they don't understand the rule or the principle of the music. So I try to figure out how because in Northeast Thailand, the music is improvised. It's not written down. So I try to figure out how the composer or how the musician write or create the melody in both lam melody and can melody. So now I learned that. So I am really happy about that. I know the principle of how to create the melody of the moram, how to create the can melody of the can. So,
Right, Dr. Lekakul, would you like to add to that, or Dr. Kosol probably?
Yeah, just something like part of that is like a Mr. Jarernchai, but the thing is, I think a new generation of people they think a different way, as I said, in the media presentation and the way of thinking, that they try to understand much more than in our age, in my age, sorry. That's because of the disease, some media presentation, YouTube, something. I'm surprised that whether or not, for example, B the instrument and Thai instrument can play like this one. And in the past, in our culture, sometimes they try to preserve that, as in some music school, and they don't want to declare to in publics in some point of the some kind of the secret piece or secret techniques. Nowadays, everything is on YouTube, and they said, oh, we can play it like this one, or even the pinpia, the string player, can have the beautiful sound, have more string, and they open their mind, then put their mind, I think. And I think the media presentation can preserve in some point that the new generation can observe that, and this can think that, okay, in our culture, we have this kind of instrument, we have to do something else, rather than preserve as our own music school, something like that.
I want to present my finding, a little of my finding. Like the Lam melody, it's derived from the poetry. Let's see, the poetry has 4 lines or 4 phrases, 1 stanza of the poetry. ขั้นน้องคิดฮอดอ้ายให้เหลียวเบิ่งเดือนดาว อันว่าแสงตาเฮ้าที่ก้อมกันอยู่เทิงป่า ขอให้บุญพลาสร้าง แน่นน้ำหนาวจองผ้าให้อ้ายและน้องในนอนซ่อนกอมสอง Just this is already the melody. Just speech, this one. So because it has tone and vowel duration and has the scale or mode control that. If you want to be to Lam Thang San, it's controlled by the Sutsanan can music. If you want to sing in Lam Thang Yao, it's controlled by the can Lai Yai, like that. So it and if you want to make the Lam Tơi, you can change the time signature to from 2/4 to 6/8. It become เต้ยธรรมดา or เต้ยดอนตาล That is my the secret of my finding. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And that ends our panel discussion. We will now entertain a few questions. First question related to what Dr. Chonpairot said from Dr. Ramon Santos. Sir, would you like to ask your question or shall I read it?
Yes, read it.
Okay. So Dr. Santos to Dr. Chonpairot, are the changes in meters have any significance in the performance of the mulam? I would like to know where the stories come from and what are the usual subjects. I think the second question was answered.
Yeah, like this, like that. If I lam thang san or lam thang yao whatsoever, ขั้นน้องคิดฮอดอ้ายให้เหลียวเบิ่งเดือนดาว อันว่าแสงตาเฮ้าสิก้อมกันอยู่เทิงป่า And then you change to the time signature. ขั้นน้องคิดฮอดอ้ายให้เหลียวเบิ่งเดือนดาว อันว่าแสงตาเฮ้าสิก้อมกันอยู่เทิงป่า It become the ลำเต้ย this one.
เช่นจริง
changing the time signature.
Time signature.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jarernchai. For Dr. Lekakul, while the pimpia is traditionally played by men, are there women who also play this instrument in modern Lana music? And B, how can sonic identity branding be further strengthened and expanded?
Okay. To be honest, traditionally about the pimpia played by men because of our culture in northern Thailand. They normally neck on the top of the body, and they play the pimpia with the resonator we call kalong, that is made from coconut shell. The reason why they neck on the top because of when the coconut shell, like a resonator, attached on the top of your chest, can make the some kind of the echo or the amplifier on the chest. And if you wear the shirt, it cannot have the more powerful sound. That's why they have to neck on the body. This might be the one thing that most women, they don't like to play it. And the second thing is about our culture that a man would like to court a woman. That's why it's like a duty or something that it's opposite from the Indian culture, something that women can flirt men, something like that. But the all thing that I explained is they were already developed. But originally, you might trace back to the Indian culture. In the sculpture, you can see there's some kind of fairy or the goddess who can play pimpia without maybe neck on the top of the body. But in our culture, when it transcends to our culture, they already developed in different ways. And also, as in my presentation, I try to explain the variety of pimpia style and techniques in different provinces. Even though that kind of province is really nearby, really close. The thing is, the knowledge of musical techniques or style or musical identity already different. It's my trace back to long time ago, how Pinpia lost in the long time ago, until it's appeared in 1967 when Gerald P. Dyke discovered that. That should be a long story about that kind of thing. But nowadays, Pinpia already developed it, as I presented, because of a new generation. They try to find a new way to play Pinpia and how to represent it, rather than just keep it for courting the women in the village, as I said. And they try to add more techniques, add more some kind of a sonic identity through media presentation, and also how to develop this kind of thing to the world, as I mentioned. Yeah.
Thank you. Now for Dr. Kosol, you were discussing about the diffusion of the P. Professor Narso would like to know, was there sort of borrowing from other cultures, or is the instrument really indigenous to that area of Thailand?
ก็ว่ามันมีเฉพาะภาคใต้หรือเปล่าปีหรือมันมาจากที่อื่นนึกเกี่ยวกันยังไง
จะอธิบายไหม
ก็ไม่คุณก็ว่าอาจารย์ว่าไปเลย
Okay, the P9 is the same shape and same size as I present. Only found in Cambodia and Thailand. Cambodia is central Thailand and southern of Thailand and North Malaysia. It is same family. P one part like this. So you can see one part like this have 6 holes. Only found in this area, in this region, not found in other region, just only Cambodia and Thailand. Also, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kosol. From Dr. Claire Ching Chan, what would interest children in learning the Kain today? Any of our panelists?
Anybody can answer that?
Yes, Dr. Chan.
Yeah. I think the way of teaching should be adapted or changed to make it simple and easy. It's like you teach the Molam singing. You try to teach the whole thing at a time, so they cannot follow. And even the teaching the can music, the mouth organ, the teacher don't know, the own teacher don't know how to, the method of teaching. They just listen to me. I will play a full piece. You remember it. And if you good memory, you can learn, but you don't have good memory, you fail. So that is one thing. So we have to make it, cut it in part, in shorter part. It's like a Molam singing instead of oh no, too long. You should cut oh do la son oh la no mi le le do la son, the third one. So break it down into many parts, so that it's easy for the children to learn. That is, I have done that. And also in learning Thai classical music, I put the text for it. It's easy to remember more than the notation. So it's like a re mi fa son la son fa mi re. I put down อยากเป็นดาราโสภาแรวิไลเด่นดวงอยู่ในหน้าผา Easy to remember. That is, the teacher have to make a divide for the teaching, so it can get the interest and give the young people easy to learn.
Thank you, Dr. Jarernchai. I think there's a panel on pedagogy. So we would like to invite everybody to attend that panel. Let me call some participants who are raising their hands at this point. Jen, would you like to ask your question or comment? Yes, Jen, you may now ask your question or raising your hand.
turn on the microphone first.
Yeah. May we have the staff unmute Miss Jen, who I see is raising her hand. Oh, she lowered her hand. Okay, Dr. Narso, Pasita Narso, please, you're also raising your hand. So go ahead. May we have the staff please unmute Miss Pasita Narso from our participants.
The question has been addressed already.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Narso. Okay, still have a few questions here from Dr. De La Peña. Dr. Chonpairot, does the principle of creating Isan melodies you discussed also apply to the so-called post-Mulam music we heard earlier during the break?
What do you ask me?
Yes, Dr. De La Peña is asking if the principle of creating Isan melodies was applied to by the band we listened to a while ago, if ever.
That I have to. That is some kind of repetition of melody should be have many contrasts in that. So they use the old melody and they make a modern version of it. It's good, but sometimes it looks similar. They may have to use the different kind of costume of that kind of ethnic music and use important or main melody like a Puthai music. They need to have the Puthai in there, so it can make more interest for the audience.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chonpairot. Dr. Sui Beng Tan is asking, do you think there is a revival of Lana music and culture in recent times, and why? She's addressing this for the whole panel.
I think maybe turn back to what is Lana is. It's back to long time ago. It's and some kind of a political terms used because the kingdoms of the Ratanakosin period. It's quite difficult to answer the kind of thing because in my mind, Lana is some kind of word that created by politics. But anyway, the thing is nowadays we call Lana music in terms of the development of a new society. Okay, and when they mix the Lana music together with the Pipat music from the urban city, from the capital city in Bangkok, and also from dynasty music, and also with some kind of music around that kind of area, ethnic group and everything. In that kind of thing, in the big picture, we call Lana as well. But I'm not sure if your question can specify the timing, which century is called Lana music. I can answer that. That would be nice.
Dr. Tan, would you like to elaborate on your question on the revival? She was asking on the revival of Lana music and culture in recent times. So is there some sort of revival, do you think? Or has there always been an interest in it?
The thing is, nowadays they still survival, but in different versions, as I said. It's kind of transformation from Lana to another thing, but they just change some kind of the musical techniques, style of playing, but it still keep the identity of the musical instrument and the ensemble.
Okay. Dulce Punsalan, one of our participants for Dr. Chai, the pichum's body is made from bamboo, while the pipe and reed are made from copper. What were the logistical challenges in instrument making, especially in obtaining raw materials during this pandemic? Anyone from our panel? Yes.
Question for me?
Yes.
The pichum is a folk music from the north. Maybe Dr. Chris will explain more. But the way of play pichum is have the reed like the can, reed of the can. It made from copper, but for the PE in the south, they made from palm leaf. But as your question asked about the problem about the pandemic, right? From the pandemic, yes.
the supply.
I think it's maybe problem to PE maker because of as I know, the logistic system is stopped for a month in Thailand for a big pandemic. But anyway, I would like to ask Dr. Chris to talk about this thing because he is in the north. May he will know the situation. Thank you.
This okay. Is in terms of pandemic. Okay. Isn't everyone have this kind of problem, even the maker. Okay. But the thing is, I think if you have some kind of material in your home at home, you can make by yourself anyway. But don't worry, that's a problem with the maker. But the thing is about how the people can meet to each other and play music together. That's the problem. Because Bijum, they normally play together with 4 or 5 people. The kind of meeting. When they play together now, they just change. As I said, the kind of Zoom presentation or everything. They play the music Zoom from Zoom, and they just make a recording and just send the kind of the music to another, and they just make the second recording to be the framework of the music performance together. That's kind of development of Bijum. I think the pandemic can help us to improve our skills, how to do our music differently.
Use technology.
Okay, so that answers the question on raw materials. The technology can answer partly. Of course, Dr. Rick Tremilios, would you like to ask your question? He has a question here. Dr. Rick, are you there? Okay, so perhaps I will just read.
Oh, sorry. Let me.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yes, the question has to do with national patrimony. That is, using. Let's see. Sorry, I'll try again. The question has to do with national patrimony. That is, these traditional instruments being used as icons for Thai national culture. And so my observation is that the Pinpia and the Pi are instrumental traditions, so they can transfer fairly easily throughout all of Thailand and be understood. But the question was with Molam, which is language-based, and so that because Isan is a different language than, I guess, Central Thai language, how is Molam appreciated or understood by, for example, Central Thai people, or our own Molam players now they've become bilingual?
Molam, nowadays they have a new type of Molam. They call Molam sing. Come from racing Molam. That means the Molam that sing very fast in very quick tempo. That they include usually when they sing in Lao language first, and then the other section would be the pop song at the same content. So they can appreciate by any part of the country. So the Molam is popular and really can be really going to perform in Central Thailand and Northern Thailand or Southern Thailand. So Molam is popular because of they use 2 versions of language from with Lao and Central Thai pop song.
Thank you.
Okay, we have last 2 questions here from Benito San Victores to Dr. Kosol and Dr. Lekakul. How are the music produced by the P and the Pinpia represented in terms of music sheets?
Oh, okay. Okay. Not some part of them. If I think traditionally we don't have music notation, but they developed this kind in the King Rama V, and they just expand it to be more westernization. The big in my case, in my pinpia, normally people, they don't notate the notes. They just try to memorizing. And as I said, the pinpia have many versions, have many styles. It depends on, you cannot notate in every things on the West notation, or even Thai is quite difficult. They normally try by memorizing everything. And how about Mr. Chaiwut?
About P, I think about P is same way as Dr. Chris said, because in the past, for traditional way, we don't have any notation. We just play by memorization. But now, as I teach music in the college, I teach by use notation, because a lot of my students come to me, and in the class, I cannot tell them to play, repeat after me. No, because they need many times. So I use the note, and the note now we use it's like we compare with the Western music. It's not an absolute note as Western music, but it's closely to the note to Western music. So we use do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do on the pipat, on the kong wong, on the ranat, on the also in kreng sai, in string instrument. Every instrument now we use note. But it's adjust for similar, not exactly note in Western music.
In my case, I just talking about the pinpia because it's too complicated to notate. But if we're talking about music in Lana, it's also they have some kind of notation.
Oh.
Okay, another question from Mary Grace Paasa to Dr. Kosol. Does the P, is it only used for Nang Talum, or can it be used for other Thailand theatrical performance or festivals?
They use for Nora and Nang Talung, the main performance in the south, but also used for likeเขาเรียกอะไรนะ procession like to with the กลองยาว or something like that, but not play for music for listening. But for now, the new generation use the P to play in pop song, play in popular music, use in folk song. They use the P also.
Thank you. I'd like to call Dr. Santos, who is raising his hand.
Turn on his microphone, maybe.
Kindly turn on to our secretariat. Please unmute Dr. Santos. We don't hear any sound. Perhaps an adjustment.
I would like to ask this question to Dr. Chonpairot.
Yes.
Okay, how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel about the changes that they have done to the molam? For example, the band that we just heard, it does not even have a voice. Okay, it does not have the vocalist. So, do you like that?
No, my answer is this. I make a list of chain for the truth. So I see the weak point of that performance. So I will give them the comment to improve their group, their truth. I see the big point of the group. it's not they have less beauty of the music, but they just want to, it's like the costume or the dress. It's look, that not look nice, you know. It's just like a private. It's not a official group or not a uniform at all. So they have to improve many things. So I have make a list for them and give them later. Thank you, Professor Santos.
Okay, I was just wondering, you know, because of all these changes that have occurred, from your point of view as an ethnomusicologist or as a professor of culture, I don't know, probably. Anyway, I would prefer the old Molam. I like that. I like the old Molam.
I have the same idea as you mentioned, but sometimes this group, many group are my former students, so I can give the advice to them. Like this on TISA group, they are all my students. But in the public, there's physical Molam troupe. They throw away the can. I have no power to push them, to force them to do. And also in Molam Sing, they can just playing Jan Lan Jan, Jan Lan Jan. It's no influence of the aesthetic in there. It just make the rhythm. So it this one, the audience don't want to hear the beauty of the music. They want to dance to it. So that is, they listen to the drum. When there's no drum, they fall asleep in front of the stage. But if the drumming, playing, they stand up and dance. You know, that is the,
yes.
We cannot change that.
Yes, I know the person who invented the Molam Sing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they need for survival, have to change.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Santos and Dr. Jarernchai, for that personal and sort of at this juncture, no, of what is happening to the Molam singing in Thailand. So we shall now wrap up. We'd like to thank everyone for your wonderful questions, and of course, our presenters for being so welcoming in entertaining all our questions. So let me just synthesize, no, identities and integrities of the evolving sonic expressions of Thailand through the Isan, the P, and the Pinpia show convergence of these sonic events with language, theater, and individuals grappling with tradition and change in modern Thai society. While the frames of analysis still bear traces of music as a discipline, there are already underpinnings of local categories in looking at these sonic expressions through the local integrative tropes of analysis, thus reflecting integrities and sometimes mediations of people and places. So thank you very much for listening to our panel. And